Tonight on The Record brings you exclusive information from the DJ from the club where those pictures you saw were taken of Casey Anthony partying when she told everybody else she was looking for her daughter. Well, how important is what the DJ knows about the fact that he says she was a great mom until he realized something was up and Caylee was gone? Let's bring in the panel. Attorney Courtney Anderson joining us tonight, along with criminal defense attorneys Michael Cardoza, Bernie Grimm, and Sam Rabin, new to the panel. He is an attorney in Florida. Good to see all of you.
Good evening.
Sam, how much weight would a judge give this DJ who says she was a great mom, he loved spending time with Caylee, but when he realized Caylee was gone and Casey wasn't really looking for Caylee, as far as he could tell, he got really scared. He's a little freaked out tonight, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that when it's a part of the bond determination, a judge is going to weigh that along with all the other factors, but you certainly are not going to ever be able to escape all of the lying that is part of the story in this case.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more with you about Florida law and whether or not she walks, because that's something that her attorney is saying just a matter of days and she's out of jail. Bernie, what do you think about the DJ and his explanation of how Casey lived with them? She was a great girlfriend to Tony, and Caylee, little Caylee, was always well dressed and well taken care of, and then she vanishes, but Casey sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's overwhelmed by just the sheer power of all the other evidence in the case. The police in this case, Jamie, have done an outstanding job. They've talked to every one of Casey's friends that Casey identified, saying, these are my friends, go talk to them. The police talked to everyone, and to a person, man, woman, child, aunt, uncle, whoever, said she is, quote unquote, a habitual liar. And for me, I can't get by that.
Yeah, new inconsistencies tonight. Michael, let me ask you about evidence. They are searching. Sure. The FBI is involved. We didn't know whether they were searching for Caylee. They are, based on evidence that was found in the car, a speck of something that might be blood, some hair, and some dirt. What do you think, when they put all that together, they come up with? Where do they go?
Well, you know, it depends what that DNA testing shows. If it's Caylee's DNA in the trunk, you certainly have a much stronger case, and then I would look to her the mother getting arrested for murder in this case. But one thing I find interesting about the feds being involved with this, you can easily lie to a state police officer, as the grandmother has done in this case. No charges will be brought unless they're egregious lies and really affect the investigation in the case. But you lie to a federal officer during the investigation, no matter how small, they can come after you.
Yeah, that's big time.
Martha Stewart.
Courtney,
yeah, there's another hammer.
Let me get you in here, Courtney. The mom, the grandmother, Cindy, was on tonight, and she is saying she didn't get to see her daughter, but there's another phone call today from jail. We're going to play it for our viewers coming up. What is up with all these calls? How much does the prosecutor get from using these calls?
Well, that depends. We don't know what the prosecutor will get, but what's up with all the calls is she's in jail. People who are in jail are usually bored and lonely, and they spend a lot of time calling any and everybody that they can. So that's what's happening, is she's kind of desperate, she's bored, she's lonely. At this point, she should be starting to figure out that all of her lies aren't working. And I really don't understand why the grandmother is talking to the media, what she hopes to gain. I think the bottom line is, the story's interesting about the mother lying. It's interesting. Sad, but interesting. But the real thing that really has us riveted to the story is this poor little girl. I mean, how do you just claim you don't know where your child is for weeks and weeks and weeks until your mother calls 911?
Yeah, three times. And Courtney, how do you claim you're looking for your daughter when you're like out hanging with people you don't even know at a club? Panel, I have to ask you to stand by. So much more ahead. That jailhouse call is coming up. And Casey Anthony, she might be behind bars, but boy, does she continue her conversations with the outside. Wait till you hear this one. She's revealing important information to her brother. We have obtained brand new tapes, and you will hear this latest call next. Also later. Well, Casey Anthony was on the phone again. She called her brother from behind bars today. On the Record has the call. Listen.
Everything's fine. Just trying to meet and talk with as many people as possible right now.
Yeah.
So, how is that letter coming?
well, when I get a chance to actually write a little bit more, I should be able to do that within the next little bit since I have some, I guess, quote, rec time.
Well, we don't know what the letter she's writing is about, but let's bring back our panel to talk about the call and Casey's behavior behind bars. Michael, let me start with you and ask you, first of all, her attorney says she's going to walk because in 31 days they can't hold her on the charges they have her on. They only have her on child endangerment and obstruction and interfering with the investigation. That's not nothing, but that's not homicide, which is the way their investigation looks to be going.
Well, here in California, once you're arrested, the district attorney has 72 hours within which to bring charges against you. If they don't, you walk out of jail. But once they bring charges against her, and I understand they have 1 Class 3 felony and 2 misdemeanors, then Caylee, or the mother, can then say, look, I'm not waiving time. I want to get to my preliminary hearing, and I want to get to my trial. I'll tell you what, if she doesn't waive time, the DA could push this case because I think they have enough evidence now to charge her, to bring her to preliminary hearing, and to bring her to trial and convict her. She can sit in state prison until we find out what happened to her daughter. I think that's the best way to approach this.
Sam,
charge her and move forward.
You're the attorney in Florida. I am too, but you practice criminal a lot more than I do. You're criminal defense attorney there. Tell me how long Casey can be held. And the attorney claims as well that her bond is excessive. It's $500,000 on those charges, but an appellate court disagreed and upheld it. Did they make the right decision, and will Casey walk?
All right. There's a lot of components to this question. The first thing is Florida does not have preliminary hearings like they do in California. From the time of the arrest, which was July 15th, the prosecutors have 30 days to file formal charges. The fact that there's been an arrest does not mean that formal charges have been filed. Those have to come from the prosecutors. If the prosecutors file formal charges within 30 days, which they can expand to 40 days, then the bond that is presently set at $500,000 for the felony and $100 for each of the 2 misdemeanors will remain in effect.
Okay, but she could get a new bond hearing also once they actually set the charges, right, and issue an indictment?
She could apply for a new bond hearing, but the judge has already ruled on bond on these charges. So not only is the trial judge ruled on the bond, but the appellate court has said it's a reasonable bond under the circumstances.
Okay, so reasonable for now. For now, she stays. Bernie, do we see her walk?
No, I mean, I'll yield to Sam on this. He's the lawyer down in Florida, but it seems to me they'll push it right up to the limit, maybe ask for a 10-day extension, and then formally charge her, and she remains under the same bond. This woman in this circumstance is not going to walk if they have to hold her illegally in jail.
Well, I don't know if we are in America, but
I'm exaggerating. That wouldn't be, what am I supposed to say, a fair and balanced thing to do. So.
Courtney, let me ask you this. It occurred to me today that maybe the judge knows something we don't. Maybe the appellate court knows it too. Is it possible that she has a record as a juvenile that's sealed that may have come into play in setting the bond, or would that not play a role? I believe Sam, who's in Florida, believes that it would not have played a role.
Well, it may or may not have, but it's a really good question. It's a good point. Certainly the appellate judges and the trial judge have access to the full breadth of information on this case, and I do concur that with all the media attention that's on this case, I mean, first of all, I really don't care, you know, what day her charges are filed. I just really care about the day this child is found.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
to me, that's, you know, all the attention on this case. I think understanding the legal machinations, they are working. The mother is in custody, even though she's calling and, you know, spending her time on the phone. She is in custody.
And
the justice system is moving.
Starting to tell the truth soon, Courtney, with all these inconsistencies. Sam, we're lucky enough to have you tonight. Before I let you go, with all this publicity, if she gets tried on these charges or more charges, does she get a fair trial in your jurisdiction?
I don't think she gets a fair trial in Orlando. I think that they're going to have to move this trial out of Orlando for her, or out of that area for her to get a fair trial. The media has been too extensive, and it's been fueled by all of the releases of all of the conversations in the jail and all of the information from all the parties.
All right, part of me thinks the family might know that, and that might be why they're putting out all the calls, and Cindy, the grandmother, keeps coming out. Panel, thank you so much.